Hey everybody, this is Tom from Rocket Restorations, and today we got a nice treat for you. This is actually something I uncovered a while ago. Kind of forgot I had. A buddy of mine messaged me the other day and asked me if I still had this footage, but it's really cool. So my friend Joe Machado went to, I don't know what's to call it other than the General Lee Wrecking Yard in around 1981, 1982. So when they're making Dukes of Hazzard, they were jumping all the cars, and Warner had to have storage lots. So apparently it was up near Saugus in kind of northwest LA basin, and they heard about it, went up there, and it's super cool footage. You can see all the wrecked cars, the nice cars, and there's a lot of other just random cop cars around too that I'm sure were in other TV shows. But I really thought people would enjoy this, so just wanted to give you a little background first. It's not a lot of footage. It's So Sean's dad, Joe Machado, was really good about documenting stuff. He actually had a bunch of old 8mm videos from the 70s and 80s. He had a bunch of like the Riverside races, the Permatex races, which he shared with me a few years ago, and I recorded it all for him because it was really cool footage. It was very entertaining to see. He was really good about doing that, and I actually had an old race car that raced in the 1972 Permatex race at Riverside, which was kind of like it was the older cars that raced before the big race at Riverside Raceway and the NASCAR race. And I transferred all this stuff, and this was just a bit. It's a minute and a half of footage, but it's really cool. I'll go into a little more detail in the video, but just a little background on this. So they had to buy a lot of cars to run that show, and they wrecked a lot of Chargers. They bought them locally, and they were always looking for cars, and they converted them over, and they were real cheap. Like, Sean was telling me some good stories about it. Like when they were there, they had a jumper car, and they were just like, bomb canning the interior back to tan. They took 68s and changed them over, and kind of the end of this story is there's a guy named Wayne Wooten. He was in charge of the Dodge Charger registry. And after the show was over, I mean, this is way after what this video was, the cars were just sitting in a lot in LA, and they were actually given away to Dodge Charger registry members. A friend of mine up here, Jim Morgan, ended up with one, and it was actually a 68. So, a lot of the cars, got wrecked. A lot of the cars survived, but I'll leave a little bit more for the video. So here's the video. I'll have a little follow-up after as well. So hope you enjoy the video. It's really, really cool. I really like seeing this. So here's the actual video. This is just super, super cool. That was Richard Richardson's Daytona. He bought it new. And this is the storage lot. This has all the wrecked cars, and they were still jumping them. At this point, they could still find cars. Sean said you could have any General Lee out of that yard for free. They would just give them to you. You had to bring new wheels and tires, because it was kind of hard to find the Westerns. But you could just have any of those wrecked Chargers. Nobody wanted them. It's crazy. There's Boss Hogg's Bug. You can see there's some other cop cars in the background. This was a Warner Brothers storage lot, so they had a bunch of different cars there from other TV shows. This is what's called the hero car. So it was a nice one for shots, so it's in good shape. So they stored it here between filming. He said it was a nice car. Sean said there was a couple cars they were working on there that were quote unquote called jumper cars, and when they redid the interiors to tan, they would literally just put a piece of cardboard over the gauges and just spray everything tan because they didn't care. They used 68s for this. They took what they could get. There's Joe's Daytona there. It's dressed like the Mario Rossi car. There's Sean. He's the kid in the striped shirt crawling out of the car there. I think he was 8 or 9 now, which is funny. It's actually how old my son is right now. And his sister's behind him. And then that's Joe right there in the blue shirt. I believe that's Joe. Yeah, that video was pretty cool, huh? A little bit of background. So the striped Daytona you see at the start, that's Richard Richardson's Daytona. Apparently he bought that new, had them custom painted. And then at the end, there's the 22 Mario Rossi car. That was Joe Machado's car. So he was a huge fan of that car back in the day, and he painted his Daytona that. And they sold that car after that. I don't remember the exact years. I'm sure Sean will correct me in the comments here. But Sean actually ended up back with that car and has it restored, so it's back to stock now, which is pretty cool. I just think it's amazing that you could take any of those Chargers. I mean, obviously, this is 81, 82. They were 11, 12-year-old used cars, and they were wrecked. Like, no one really cared at the time, but, like, you could basically take any of those cars. They were free. You just had to bring wheels and tires because they're having a hard time finding the Duke's wheels. But on those jumper cars, I mean, they didn't care how nice they were. They just had to look good look on camera from 500 feet away. They're going to get wrecked anyways. They just had to have tan interiors and the taillights. But I know on Jim Morgan's Charger he had, like, it didn't have the reverse lights. Like a 69 Charger has the reverse lights in the valence back there because they're not in the taillights. On a 68, they're in the taillights. And it didn't have that. So you tell it was a 68 very hastily converted. I mean, I don't think his car was ever jumped. It didn't look like it, but it was just a 383 car, and it was pretty abused. Apparently, a couple people have asked where the storage yard was. I think it was up near Saugus, which is kind of northwest LA. When you go over the Grapevine, that's one of the first towns you hit when you go through there. You can see the kids riding around in the hero car. The hero car is a movie term for like the really nice car. So they always had a couple nice cars for like the interior shots, the close-ups. They wanted nice cars for that. So that was the hero car that they're actually getting to ride in, which I think was really, really cool. Yeah, I think the Dodge Charger registry thing's pretty cool. So there's a couple real Generalees out there that came from that. It's pretty cool. You can see the bug in there. That was Boss Hogs. Had the antlers on the front and everything. I didn't really see many other cars on TV show. I mean, I'm not like a connoisseur of Dukes of Hazzard. I mean, I definitely watched it when I was a kid. I mean, it's right in my generation. I was pretty young when that show came out, but I definitely watched that with my parents back in the day. It was pretty entertaining. So yeah, so I just thought I'd show this to everybody. I thought it was pretty cool. If anybody has any questions on it, I'd love to answer them in the comments. I talked to Sean for a while about this last week, and he had a bunch of good stories from that, and he just said it was it was a very cool thing to see. It's kind of a slice of movie history frozen in time. Like, I've never seen any other footage from wrecked cars then. They started filming in Georgia, and they moved to LA, and then it was just a movie studio there, and they were just used cars. They were just trying to make a TV show. Nobody thought it would be a cultural phenomenon and do what it did over the years. So but yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Really appreciate it. If people are interested, I have a bunch of the 8mm footage from Joe Machado. Joe Machado is Sean's dad. And from the Riverside race, from the Permatex races. So I don't know if anybody's interested in seeing that. Post it in the comments. I'll repost it. I posted it on my account like 10 years ago, but obviously I didn't have that many followers at that point. It was just the raw footage, and I kind of apologize for the quality of the footage, but that was literally, I had an 8mm projector, was projecting it onto a screen, and I was filming with my camera at the time. My phone didn't have a camera when this was filmed. It was like 12 years ago, 13 years ago. So I just did it with my camera. So the footage isn't great. I mean, I could probably have it professionally transferred over to a CD or a video, and it'd be a little better. But keep in mind, it's 40-year-old 8mm film that was recorded here. So, but yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.